because I might try this out, see if it works. If it doesn't, then I'll try to get right into the game. I did pretty bad at the first game, the first episode, but hopefully I'll do better. I did used to play test for this game before it was out, so I do know what happened, but this is my first time playing the full release because I just played the playtest part of this. So some of this stuff is new, some of it's gonna be familiar to me. And I remember this used to actually be the only level available, which is why I think the last time I tried out this level, but like I said, this is new. I'm actually gonna try this again. I used to actually be pretty good at this game. I used to help balance out some of the guns. I used to have suggestions for more things to come. Yeah, so there is a limited amount of rounds you can do in this game. It seems like, which I'm alright with. Playing until round 30 can get annoying sometimes. I used to play for round 30 and get bored immediately. Let's see what Thresh has to say now. You're back. You've been gone for so long. What happened? I just went through the portal, like usual. Yeah. Same thing we've always been doing. And I remember you left at the start of last spring. Are you telling me you've been in Harbinger realm for a year? I felt for like, yeah, it wasn't that long. The way time flows there must be changing. You used to return in only a few weeks of spring. Hopefully there isn't anything to worry about. Enough of this food. Pick the perfect time. It's All Hallows Eve. Hey, perfect. It's Halloween. Actually, pretty much right around the corner. I'm sure you can guess why this is my favorite holiday. No, do please explain. I don't even need to dress up. I mean, that is a sick costume. Or outfit, it's not really a costume for you. Gorman, on the other hand, at least he tried. Come on, man. Gorman looks sick. He looks like the one in blood. Anyways, wanna buy something? I can buy the MG. We'll just buy it. The sniper rifle isn't all that useful at this point. So go ahead. Hey there, Bob. You're back. Happy All Hallows Eve. This cool mask you got there. Oh, that's actually nice. Like I said, you've only been focused. Thanks for making this up. Only took me a year for a look. Are you gonna buy something? Stand up. Sure. Flying dash and extra movement speed. I feel like I move fast enough. I'm gonna get the dash for now, and then get something else. Faster firing. I think only slime is actually new, and along with extra movement speed. I didn't see these before. That sheet actually used to only cost 115. I guess because getting crystals is so easy. You have to raise the price, but you know what? That's fine. Yeah, I got an ability to support me. Thank you, Harbinger. I'm actually gonna end off this video with a little trick that not so much a bug as much as it is just an Easter egg. Because there is actually a way to, well, game's correct, lighting, to go outside the map in a way that doesn't damage the game. He actually leaves these here on purpose. A fun little reason. See, that's where the Harbinger will be. And then you just walk around on the outside. There's the edge of the world. I don't actually remember. Pretty sure you can jump off. I'll do that at the end. I want to find one of the things because those menus you see, like stuff in the shop, the shops, they're actually in the game. But they're outside the map. All it does is that the camera just displaces where your character is. Okay. That's the Harbinger. Okay, I did not go out of bounds there. Let's try it again. Alright, we're outside again. Time to look for that menu screen I was talking about. And you can literally be next to the weapon. Like I said, going out of bounds isn't serve a purpose. It doesn't break the game in distance. Only in the hub world thing to do this, and there's nothing game-breaking worthy of hub world. So feel free to export this to your heart's desire. There's the little gravestone where you come in the developer Easter egg. And still struggling with the damn screen. It's nice to see he left this in the full release, because you could also do this in the beta test. Although I don't think it was originally intentional. There it is. There we go, and you can see he left a little developer Easter egg here. You wouldn't see this because you'd just be seeing this. But up this side, you see those little Easter eggs. She adds in every game for the 2 that he has made. Yeah, there you go. I love how it says E, even though it's just a troll. Like, make you think you can pick up the weapon beforehand, you can't. Well, I'm actually going to end it here. Thank you so much for watching. I will be releasing more videos on this game since this is one of the first games I've ever played tested for. The developer is a really chill guy. I think he's working on more projects. I'm not sure if this project specifically. Yeah, that's all for today.